Come on, Annie. Let's go to the movies.
This is the Cinereelists, episode 606. My name is Kyle.
My name is James.
And my name is Zach.
And we're here to talk movies, movie lists, and movie obsession for the next hour or so. I'm kind of getting the vibe, guys, from our pre-show conversation. We're all a little tired today.
Sure.
You got that vibe?
Yeah. I'm getting like maybe a sleepy vibe. Like maybe we want to be tucked in, a warm blanket, hot cocoa.
I mean,
I'm drinking coffee, if that means anything.
Decaf or regular?
We'll find out.
Okay. If Zach gets punchier as the episode goes on, we'll know.
Sure. I mean, I'm tired, but I've been looking forward to this all day. I love talking movies with you guys.
Oh, yeah. I'm not happy to be here. I think we're all just a little tired.
Sure.
James, I've noticed behind you, you haven't set up any more shelves, but you have gotten rid of a lot of boxes.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the reason why I'm tired is like my condo is in a state of flux because I did a bunch of renovations a while back. And then like a year ago, I stopped and I pushed all my furniture against the walls and I lived in it for a year without painting my baseboards. And so this weekend I decided one way or another, I'm going to paint the baseboards. And so I have 2/3 of my condo with baseboards painted right now, all except for this room. And so I got new Blu-ray shelves. There's one right there. There's another in a box right there. And there's another arriving tomorrow. And I can't actually put them against the wall until I paint the baseboards in here. So still in flux in this room, but the rest of the house is good to go.
Great.
You want to pick up your camera, give us a little tour real quick of the rest of the house?
No.
Okay. Something exclusive for the YouTube listeners, watchers?
Well, part of the reason I say no is because this mic can't go with me.
James, are these shelves going to be your overflow shelves, or are you moving the whole collection into this room?
Everything but the Criterions will be in this room.
Okay.
That's the plan right now.
Why do the Criterions get their own special room, apparently, or display?
One, because I'm going to fill all of these pretty close to the edge.
Okay.
So I don't think all the Criterions will fit in here. And two, I think the Criterions can look good in a living room if I do it right.
Because people may not know this, you do not care for the blue case of the Blu-ray.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And they look more like art. They look more like books on a shelf than they do, I don't know.
A bunch of movies. Yeah.
Bunch of movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically. Not only that, but like the Criterion collection, my personal Criterion collection is small, relatively small compared to the normal Blu-ray collection. So I think a little bit of my obsession can be in there and people will be all right with it. And then the people that I trust, I'll bring in here and then they can see that I'm actually legitimately obsessed.
So it's like they can be in your living room. Like, oh, he's got a couple movies. He must enjoy cinema.
Yeah.
But they don't need to see like the shelves and shelves of Blu-rays.
The people who will appreciate it can be in my Blu-ray room.
Okay.
The people who, I don't know if they'll appreciate it. They don't need to know that I'm going to have an entire wall of Blu-rays behind me.
So the Criterion's like a conversation piece.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not
only that, but I've been legitimately trying to go through the titles I have and watch movies that I haven't seen. And I'm pretty sure if I stick them back here on a shelf, that will happen less than if they're in my living room where I see them all the time. So, yeah, those are all the reasons. And lately I've just been buying Criterions. It's crazy. Even today I spent $200 on Criterion Blu-rays.
You like 3 of them?
No.
Okay.
Not for 3 of them. I think I got 22 Blu-rays and maybe 10 DVDs. And I will be selling the Criterion DVDs and about 1/3 of the Blu-rays. And hopefully it'll pay for most of it. We'll see. Why are you guys so tired? What did you do? You paint some baseboards all weekend?
No, well, I've got a twofold reason.
Okay.
One, I'm sick, so that doesn't, help at all.
Oh, likely
And
story.
then Galen had his first swim meet this morning,
Okay.
and I was up early. Not as early as Megan, because me being sick, she let me sleep in a little bit, but was up early to go cheer him on in his first swim meet.
Nice.
But then quick shout out to Megan, who got up even earlier than I did to make sure he got there on time.
And did he win?
No, but he competed and did a nice job. And it was just cool to see him doing this for the first time.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, if he won on his very first meet,
that'd be pretty crazy.
Time to get that kid a trainer.
It's like, yeah, you're that good already. Let's work on this.
Let's Michael Phelps this to the max.
Yep. Yeah. I think I could really I could really channel my inner Tiger Woods dad.
Sure.
Or like, go full King Richard on it. We could make this happen. So
sure. And you, Zach? Just general weariness.
No, I'm feeling all right. Just busy at work, so
sure.
Full days, long nights.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're gonna muster the energy to, move on. Go on. What's the term?
To push forward.
Push forward.
Through? Okay.
Push through. Yep. We're gonna push through. But before we do that, we need to remind you there's a video version of this podcast on YouTube. Go check it out there. Search us up, Cinereelists, and subscribe. Also, you could support us on Patreon, patreon.com/Cinereelists. Support the podcast, get extra after show audio. There's literally years of after show audio on there, and a lot of it is pretty random and not related to anything going on in the world. So you could listen to it at any moment and it would still be fun to listen to. Go check that out. Also, leave us an Apple Podcast review, 5 stars only. Or you could send us an email to heyguys@cinereelist.com, REEL with an S on the end, and send us an email and we will read it and discuss it on the podcast. All that being said, let's get into our top 10, last 10.
Top 10, top 10, and top 10, and last 10, and last 10, and a last 10, last 10, and top 10, top 10, and top 10, and top 10, and last 10, last 10, and last 10, and last 10, and top 10.
Kyle, can you tell us what a top 10, last 10 is for new listeners?
Yes. A top 10, last 10 is a list of 10 movies. In fact, it's the last 10 movies that we have watched individually, and we take those 10 movies and rank them against each other, where 10 being the least favorite of those last 10 that we watched, 1 being the most favorite.
That's exactly what it is. Very good. It's like you've done this before.
Not my first rodeo.
Sure. I'll go first. Why not? A movie I just watched just last night is titled The Royal Hotel. It's my number 10. It's a 2023 movie. I watched it because Julia Garner stars in it alongside Jessica Henwick, but Julia Garner is definitely the main star of the movie. If you don't recognize the name Julia Garner and you watch Ozark, she is kind of the rednecky girl who helps Marty with all kinds of scheming and things like that. Do you guys watch Ozark?
Oh, yeah. I thought they preferred hillbilly. Or was it redneck? I mean, on the show, remember there's the Darlene had a real
Hillbilly's
issue.
Probably more appropriate for Ozark, yes.
Yeah, I think Darlene got called a redneck.
Mm-hmm.
And then murdered someone. Spoiler alert for Ozark. Or maybe, I can't remember exactly which one it was.
Right.
Either way, yeah.
I also just finished Ozark. Like I hadn't watched any of season 4, either the first half or the second half. And man, that show was good. It was a great show.
Looked forward to that one, yeah.
Pretty unsatisfying ending, though, personally, I thought.
Yeah, but sometimes it's the journey, not the destination.
I'll agree with that. It wasn't a bad ending.
Yeah.
It wasn't as bad as Sopranos, I would say, where they just absolutely don't end certain things. but it was also no The Shield. Did you ever
Oh,
watch The Shield?
Yeah, The Shield is one of the best TV endings. It's up there with The Wire
Absolutely.
for me.
Yeah, definitely. The Shield is, yeah. I mean, probably top 10 ending to a TV show for sure.
I can
Top
tell
5
you did not
maybe.
like this movie since we're talking about all the other things that she has done besides this movie.
Did not enjoy Royal Hotel, and I was ready to enjoy it. I mean, it's directed by Kitty Green, who directed The Assistant, which was a great movie that also starred Julia Garner. Just a few years ago, that was the one that's like vaguely about Harvey Weinstein. It's like this girl who's works for a Hollywood agent, and she overhears things in the office that are not good, that are very Harvey Weinstein-esque, and she's kind of trapped in a situation where she wants to say something, but also she's like an intern type of thing. Anyway, again, I'm not talking about Royal Hotel. That movie was good. This one I was hoping would pick up the flag where that one put it on the ground, and it absolutely did not. It's like it's a perfectly fine movie. I didn't have major issues with it other than not much happened and then the movie ended. and and it had a lot of potential for like things to happen. It set up very well, lots of things that could possibly happen. And I also didn't like that there's a lot of background that they don't give you on the characters, and then the characters do something right at the end. Characters that you've come to be concerned about, they get revenge for like something that actually didn't happen, and the revenge was not balanced with like what actually happened in the movie. The revenge seemed outsized, I would say, right at the end, and I was like, all right, I don't understand what we did here for an hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah.
That's how I felt about it. So well put together, but maybe from the script, it had issues. My number 10,
Ruth Langmore.
Cool.
That's who she plays in Ozark.
Ruth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
She won 3 Emmys for that,
As she should have. It was a great performance.
for sure.
All right, my number 10 is Shiva Baby
Ooh.
from 2020.
You watched Shiva Baby
Yes.
Shiva.
and did not like it.
Yo, they're right. This is number 10. Oh, I went ooh with excitement, and now I realize this is the bottom of your list.
Mhm.
I will say I in some way enjoyed every movie on my list. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Oh, good. Good.
Sure.
So this is a 3-star movie for me.
Mhm.
I know both of you really like it, and I think you're both big Rachel Sennett fans.
Yep.
I sometimes have a hard time like really fully enjoying a movie when the main character is not necessarily likable, and this main character is not necessarily likable. I'm not really rooting for her because she's kind of just self-centered throughout the whole movie, and I don't think she really like goes through much of an arc as far as like becomes less self-centered at the end. It's more just like a anxiety movie. It's like a very low stakes kind of how bad could this get for me kind of situation, but she could always just leave the house, like it's like a lot of the tension is utterly avoidable. Or if she was just kind of like a kinder person, maybe it's avoidable as well. I thought the performances were all really good. A lot of the tension, the drama feels a little forced, like again, because it's rather unnecessary. The whole stuff with the wife and the baby, and they're just kind of constantly hanging out, and it just seems all so avoidable. But I wasn't mad at the movie, and it's easy to watch, and the characters are interesting. But it's just for a simple little contrived movie, it was fine.
So where does it rank versus Bottoms?
I liked Bottoms better.
Yeah.
Sure. Similar to my number 10. I mean, it's same lead actress, same director. 2 movies that one of us liked, and or whatever. We liked one, we didn't like the other.
Cal?
Well, I can say that I was not expecting to like my number 10,
Mm-hmm.
and I did not. And that's why it's my number
Eh.
10. And
All
before
right.
you say to yourself, well, Kyle, you're just priming yourself for setting yourself up for failure. Let me tell you the top of my number 10. 2011's Transformers: Dark of the Moon.
And have you seen the other Transformers movies?
I had seen the first Transformers movie when it came out, the original one.
And Dark of the Moon is the second one?
No, this is the
Or-
third one.
I was going to say you skipped one here.
Well, okay. So a little backstory. I saw the first Transformers when it came out, in like 2007, in the theater with my brother. We were on a road trip. I think we were like in Ohio, somewhere in the middle of nowhere. And so it was like the perfect road trip thing to do. Was kind of excited for it. You know, child of the 80s, liked the Transformers cartoon. Overall impression of Transformers is the fighting robots are a lot of fun, but every time we cut to humans, it just drags the movie down. And there's a lot of Shia LaBeouf and Megan Fox in that first movie. And it's a lot of Michael Bay directing, who is definitely an auteur director. He has or not being an auteur, he has a style for sure. But I find it a challenging style to watch. So I saw the first Transformers. I was kind of done with the series.
Mhm.
However, in 2010, I was living in Chicago when they were filming Transformers: Dark of the Moon, because there's a big Chicago set piece. And for about a month, I remember walking around Michigan Avenue and like looking at all the fake styrofoam in the rubble. I saw some of the movie being filmed. I think, Zach, you actually maybe came down for that weekend. Do you remember exploring the Transformers set with me?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. We do you really remember you saying that just to appease?
Yes.
Okay.
No, I do. I absolutely do.
I know. Like we saw a couple of the cars,
Mhm.
like in obviously on their Transformer form. Anyway, so this has always been an interest of mine, just because I had been there. I saw some of the filming. I saw the sets. I was like, okay, well, I should maybe watch this movie. And it's not good. These movies are not good. There's the fighting robots are still kind of fun. But just like the way that Michael Bay shoots it, the camera's always just like moving and swooping and cutting. Like you never get a chance to actually see anything because there's just constant movement of the camera. And then whenever we cut to the humans, it's just the movie's stupid. Like the movie starts with this weird revisionist take on the moon landing and why we really went up there. Hint, hint,
Mhm.
it was Transformer related. And then we get like half an hour of Shia LaBeouf trying to get a job. And we're just following Shia LaBeouf around as he goes on job interviews. And like, this is a Transformers movie. At least give me some robots. But then we get to the robots and it's just more Michael Bay direct.
Yeah.
So
You get to the robots, you're like, let's go back to Shia LaBeouf walking around.
maybe some more humans would be nice now. Like, I don't know. Maybe Tyrese could say something funny. No, okay.
How
not even
about you
Tyrese can
give
be
me a
funny.
totally different movie than what you're giving me?
Exactly. Yeah. So, and it's 2.5 hours long. Like it's a long movie.
Mhm.
There's a plot. There's a whole bunch of like MacGuffins and nouns they throw at you. People like these. I mean, these movies make a ton of money, and I like, weird action movies like Fast and Furious and Mission Impossible, different level. But I'd say I have nothing against like populist movies, but I don't see the appeal whatsoever of Transformers, and I will, until my son drags me to these things, I'm going to be dipping out as long as I can.
Mhm. I'm going to make a suggestion here that if you don't take, you won't offend me at all.
Okay.
Watch Bumblebee.
I heard
Bumblebee
that's a
is
good
like
one.
the only one where you'll watch it and you'll be like, that's a Transformers movie. It's not going to like win any awards, but
Yeah.
you'll be like, that's how you make a perfectly acceptable and fun to watch Transformers movie. And it's also one Michael Bay didn't direct.
So I have a violence question. Maybe the Michael Bay not directing will answer that. Like this
Sure.
one, it's PG-13. There's the robots are fighting, but like Optimus Prime will behead a Decepticon, and
Mhm.
essentially red engine oil will pour out of the wound. So
Right.
it's borderline like bloody decapitation. Does Bumblebee go that extreme? Like, is that something I could maybe watch with Galen, knowing that every kid's different?
Um,
Are there like, is Bumblebee delimbing other Decepticons, or is it just more generic like punching and kicking?
I don't remember that being a part of Bumblebee, but
Okay.
I also am pretty unaffected by robot on robot violence.
Yeah.
And so maybe it was in there and I just don't remember it.
Okay.
Maybe read up on the parent's guide.
Yeah,
because it would probably tell you.
he wanted to go see Rise of the Beasts, the newest one.
Mhm.
I was like, I got to read up on this. And like, I was reading that at one point, like one of the beasts pulls the arm off a Decepticon and then beats it with his own arm. And I'm like, that seems like a little intense for my 8-year-old right now.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, I mean, I think he'd just from the back of my brain, he'd probably be fine with Bumblebee.
Okay.
But I don't know.
good to know.
I hesitate to just give it a blank check for sure. My number 9 is a Netflix movie from this year titled Reptile, which stars Benicio del Toro, Justin Timberlake, and Alicia Silverstone, amongst others. And it's a detective movie about a murder that happens. A real estate agent gets murdered in an empty house that she was showing to prospective clients. And Benicio del Toro plays a detective. Alicia Silverstone is his wife. And Benicio del Toro wants to solve this murder. And so that's what the movie's about, is him trying to figure out who done it. And Justin Timberlake, as the husband of the murdered real estate agent, is suspect number 1. Did he or didn't he do it? You'll only know if you watch the movie. It was all right. I gave it 3 on Letterboxd, which is slightly above average, and that's only because it does a pretty decent Sicario impression, I would say.
Oh, really?
Like the vibe I got was Sicario, not the same director, not as good or near as good as Sicario, but it definitely had like a very somber, serious tone, a decent pace, had a couple high points. But overall, not necessarily predictable, but when I got the answers the movie was setting up for you to want to have, I was like, all right. And then I moved on. It didn't really stick with me in the long run. So, Reptile. It's, if you got Netflix and you need something to watch, not too bad.
Nice. My number 9 is Paw Patrol: The Mighty Movie.
Oh, I was waiting
Yeah.
for your review on this one.
Yep. This is what I watched with Kayla for her first theater movie.
Right.
Have either of you seen the original Paw Patrol movie?
I've never seen a Paw Patrol thing, period.
Okay.
I missed it, but maybe I can get around to it someday.
Okay. The original Paw Patrol is it's fun. I mean, literally all it is the Paw Patrol are a bunch of dogs, and they all have like a role. One's like a firefighter, one's a police dog, one's flies a helicopter, things like that. And they help the city. And so someone needs their help, they'll call the Paw Patrol, they will muster their forces and then go solve the problem. And so that's the original movie or whatever. And my son has all the toys, he has probably 5 different versions of each Paw Patrol member. And one of the versions he has as a toy, they're kind of like glowing, and if you press a button, they'll like have a light that shines on them or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Which comes into play in the sequel, because in the sequel, a meteorite comes to Earth. The Paw Patrol are investigating it. They break it open, and they find out that it has crystals. And if the crystal attaches to you, like for them, it's on their dog tag, they each get a special superpower. And anyone that gets a crystal will get a superpower, and it's unique to them what their superpower is. You don't know till you get your crystal. And so then, they have like Fantastic Four kind of superpowers. Like one of them super fast, one of them can be stretchy, one of them can, turn into fire, that kind of thing.
One of them's a deformed Angry Rock.
No, but
Oh.
Rubble can like break things.
Okay.
He basically turns into Sonic the Hedgehog.
I was hoping Rubble's having some pathos of being like a disfigured rock figure who can no longer be in society.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then there's a bad character that's trying to get the meteorite crystals for herself, essentially. It's It's fun to watch with kids. I wouldn't say it's like a great movie or anything. It's not breaking any boundaries or any new ground. But it's good, clean, fun, and it's not hard to watch at all. It's not like painful to watch, where I imagine some kids' movies are. And yeah, I enjoyed it. And it's always fun to see superhero animals.
I think more importantly, what was Kayla's impression of her first movie theater experience?
Oh, she loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mostly, I would say as much as she loved the movie, she loved readjusting her seat up and down.
Oh yeah, that's a fun thing to do. Yeah,
That was huge.
Yep.
That was really big.
your neighbors love that too, I'm sure.
Oh, I mean, it's a kids movie.
It's
so
a
no one
bunch of other
cares.
kids and their families.
And this particular theater, every row, you can only see your row. So like you can't see the people behind you or in front of you.
Oh, like it's like stadium seating.
yeah.
Can you
Like
normally see
hardcore
people
with
behind you in the
walls.
theater?
Yeah, if you turned around, you could.
Okay, just like what kind of
Here,
theater
you
are
would not be
going
able to, even if you turned around.
Oh, because they're so high up.
There's partitions,
Yep,
yeah.
Yep. Oh, the partitions.
So, and there was no one in our row, so it was great.
Nice.
Yeah, it's not just stadium seating. There's like walls behind you,
Mhm.
so yeah, no one can see you.
Did she bring a blanket?
But she liked the movie. She liked it better than the first one, and she's seen the first one a ton of times, so that's a good sign. What's really funny is she's not really the Paw Patrol fan of the family, so she was bragging to her brother that she saw it.
She just wanted bragging rights against Jacob.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's certainly a movie that my family will be watching a number of times when it comes out onto video.
Is Paw Patrol 3D animated or 2D animated?
It's 3D animated.
How's the animation?
It's great.
Great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It's exactly what you need it to be.
All right. Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right.
Kyle?
Yes, my number 9 is a 2023 movie called Haunted Mansion, now streaming on Disney Plus.
Oh gosh, I'm glad you took the bullet on this.
Yeah. This is the second iteration of a Haunted Mansion movie based on the ride from Disney. First one was 20 years ago. This one it's got a big cast: Rosario Dawson, Lakeith Stanfield, Owen Wilson, Tiffany Haddish, Danny DeVito, Jared Leto, Jamie Lee Curtis, and none of them really care to be in this movie. So
You think they were all cashing a paycheck?
oh yes. If phoning it in would be the easiest way to describe this movie. There's a plot. I guess the Haunted Mansion ride has a plot. It's been a long time since I've been a Haunted Mansion. I don't know, James or Zach, you guys have probably been at it more recently than I have.
Probably.
Yeah. But at least the plot of this movie is there's this Haunted Mansion that Rosario Dawson and her son live in, and they hire a team of ghost experts to excise the ghosts in the Haunted Mansion. But the thing is, once you enter the mansion, the ghosts will now haunt you no matter where you go. So you are drawn to the mansion. And Lakeith Stanfield and the cast work on going through a bunch of paces to get rid of the ghosts that I'm sure are based on the ride, which I have not done in many, many years. The hauntings are kind of fun. Like they're a little spooky. This is PG-13. If this movie came out in the 80s, it would definitely be PG. It's definitely, I think, it's a 2023 PG-13 in that sense, whatever that means. There's nothing like bloody or about it. There's just like some light jump scares and, headless corpses dragging axes around, but nothing that an 80s kid can't handle. But they also just try and like give it this movie like heart, which is where it really drags down. Where like Lakeith Stanfield's wife has died, and other people have all these tragedies in their life, and every time they like have to talk about their tragedy, there's this mandatory product placement. So like Lakeith Stanfield is telling the story about how his wife was like going out to get ice cream and never came back, and he's like, it was Baskin Robbins. And he's telling the story he's eating Burger King. And you're like, this is atrocious. Like, at least when I was watching Transformers and they had the product placement, you're like, okay, well, huge budget, so they're gonna put Lenovo computers everywhere. But like in this movie, why we're just randomly eating Burger King and talking about Baskin Robbins as we're sharing stories about our dead wives. So more egregious use of product placement. You can skip it. Don't bother.
All right. Fair enough. My number 8 is from 1996. First time watch for me of Multiplicity. Who had that on their bingo card that James watched this?
Would have guessed that.
Multiplicity is a sci-fi romantic comedy, I would say, starring Michael Keaton, Andy McDowell, and others. Michael Keaton and Andy McDowell are a married couple. Michael Keaton, I think, is a construction contractor and for like big projects. Have you guys seen Multiplicity?
I think it's been a long time,
No.
like maybe 1996.
Okay. Anyway, he's a contractor that's very busy, like so busy he can't even spend time with his wife, type of thing. And somehow there's this weird plot about cloning where like somebody approaches him and is like, "Hey, if you want more time, why don't you come down to this laboratory and we'll clone you, and then your clone can do the job part and you'll be able to spend more time with your wife." And he's like, "That sounds amazing." And so he does it. And the clone is a pretty good copy of him, but has like small, subtle differences. And so he basically sends the clone to work, and the clone has all of his knowledge, but not necessarily all of his memories. So, like, the clone's not in love with his wife, but the clone is attracted to his wife. And the clone is actually like better at the job than he ever was, type of thing, because he can like put all his, heart and soul into it. And so he's just having a great time because this clone's like taking care of all the stuff he didn't want to do, basically. And his wife loves it and blah, blah, blah. And then eventually the clone gets a little burnt out at work and wants to take time off. And so what does he do? He goes and clones himself. So this clone is a little dumber than the first clone and can't quite do things as well as either of the original or the clone. And then that clone cloned another guy. And before long, there's like 4 clones, and the guy at the bottom of the chain is like a borderline caveman. Like the guy can barely take instructions. He's like a 6-year-old basically. And so things just kind of ratchet up, and these clones who live above the garage are like coming into the house, and the wife's encountering them and having conversations with one clone. And meanwhile, like the real guy doesn't even know about that conversation. So it's being brought up to him later. All kinds of shenanigans ensue, and it was fine. I remember seeing this on like Blockbuster shelves and stuff like that and thinking, I should watch this. This looks interesting, but never actually renting it because it just looked like such an adult comedy. And I was like 18 at the time, and I had other stuff to watch. I had Tarantino movies to watch.
You gotta be cool.
This was like Michael Keaton in a goofy romantic comedy. So I think that's why I missed it on first pass. And I know some people have genuine cult classic type love for this, but I didn't hate it, but it was not exactly a classic for me, for sure. I also found like as a little problematic because there's, spoiler alert, for Multiplicity, there's some scenes in the movie where the one rule he gives to the clones is do not sleep with my wife. And of course, all the clones sleep with his wife over the course of the movie. And all of that is played for laughs, and it didn't feel funny to me. You know what I mean? I was just kind of like, this is kind of gross that they just play this for laughs.
A little non-consensual to watch that now.
Yeah, for sure. And a lot of the jokes are like how much better certain clones are than he is. That's not what bothered me. It's the consent part that bothered me. But that's what the jokes were more focused on, rather than like, I don't know. I don't need like a serious meditation on why clones shouldn't sleep with your wife, but it just felt out of date to me, which it is. This was made nearly 30 years ago. So didn't love it, didn't hate it. Was probably most impressed with, in the mid 90s, what they did with like 5 versions of Michael Keaton on screen, having them talk, all 5 of them at the same time, and walk behind each other and in front of the frame, and like just how they did that technically was kind of impressive, I would say. For certainly there was computer graphics in 1996, but it was not nearly as easy to do that type of masking and all that kind of stuff like it is today. So my number 8, Multiplicity.
Cool. Okay, so one thing about my list that I have not mentioned yet is I haven't watched 10 new to me movies since last time we did a last 10 top 10. So on my list, I'm also going to include movies that I've rewatched.
Great.
All right.
And part of that is because every week we have pizza movie night in my family, where we make popcorn, pizza, cheese slices, and we watch a movie. So it's Wednesday nights now. It used to be Friday nights. Now it's Wednesday nights.
Do you guys make the pizza or order?
We do both.
Cool. I mean, that's cool. You guys make pizza. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
And so this movie is a pizza movie night rewatch. It's Moana.
Oh yeah,
the Disney movie, and I like Moana. I think the songs are really strong. I like the characters. There's this rooster that's really funny.
Hey.
Yeah. And yeah, visually it's really great. I think Maui is probably my least favorite part of the movie.
That's the Rock's character, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the Rock's character. But it's a fun movie, and it's a lot of fun watching with my kids. And so I like it. I don't love it, but I like it.
What would you rather watch, Moana or Lilo and Stitch?
Oh, Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Oh,
so Lilo and Stitch is a 5 out of 5 for me.
Really?
It's so good.
For some reason, those movies exist in my brain at the same place, probably because of the Hawaii thing.
The Polynesian culture.
Polynesian.
Yeah.
Lilo and Stitch gets a little silly for me towards the end. When it's just like a big chase with alien technology.
It was originally a chase with a plane.
I've seen the original footage, and let's see, 9/11 put an end to that. Yeah, it's like a plane swooping between skyscrapers in the city.
Oh wow!
Oh
I didn't even know about this.
Oh yeah, it's out there. You can definitely watch it.
All right,
and it's probably the right call they made to change that footage.
Okay.
Hawaiian Roller Coaster is a cool song though. I dig that one.
Yeah, it's a good song.
All right, my number 8 is another 2023 movie. This is The Meg 2: The Trench. Actually, sorry, Meg 2: The Trench. My bad. This movie stars Jason Statham and a whole bunch of other people you've never heard of, and is directed by Ben Wheatley, which I found interesting because he did not direct the first one. I've never seen another Ben Wheatley movie before, but I know he is at least I think he's a divisive director between you two. I believe James likes his movies and Zach does not care for them, if I'm correct.
I like The Kill List, and unfortunately that means I have to see everything he ever makes.
Okay.
Because the Kill List is really, really good, and he has not topped that since.
So you have not seen Meg 2: The Trench yet? Or is that going to be later on your list today?
I have seen Meg 2: The Trench. It fell out of my 10 most recent, but yes, I've seen it.
All right, well, we can have a quick discussion on it.
Sure.
I actually enjoyed this
to discuss.
Well, I can say I like this one more than the Meg, the original. I think it's a better movie.
I mean, it's the Fast and Furious effect, where it's like, okay, what did people like about the Meg? Let's just do that times 10. You know what I mean? Let's just amp this up to absolute. Not that the Meg was a serious movie to begin with, but they double it, I would say, in Meg 2.
So that's my issue with the movie, and that's why this is a 2.5 stars, kind of in the middle of my list. Is the finale is fun because the finale is basically the exact same finale of the Meg. It's this idea of like it's this nice resort area, and now in this case, multiple megalodons have shown up, and plus other sea creatures. The weird thing is, like, the megalodons are the bad guys in this movie, but they're really just like ancient creatures. They're not evil. Like, it's not like the Jaws shark, which is hunting people because it's got a thirst for human flesh. Like, they're just dinosaurs. So
Sure.
yeah. But it's the first half of this movie. This movie is 2 hours long. This could easily have been a 90-minute fun action movie. The first hour is like corporate thriller espionage underwater, where they're like they're just finding this whole mining company that's down in the trench, and you really don't get a lot of megalodon or sea creature action at all in the first hour. And I don't expect these movies to be believable because it's about prehistoric sharks attacking, humans in the modern era. But you get silly things like Jason Statham free diving at 25,000 feet. And he was like, oh, no, it's fine. If I clear my sinuses, I will not get crushed by the pressure. I was like, I don't think that's how science works, Jason Statham. Like, don't even try to explain how he could just not be in a suit swimming around at the bottom of a Mariana Trench or whatever it was. So,
All right.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, I don't expect these movies to be realistic, but they can get to be too silly. And this one, unfortunately, the first half got to be too silly. Where in the second half, if Jason Statham picks up a helicopter blade to stab a megalodon through the mouth, I'm okay with that. That doesn't bother me.
Mm-hmm.
I
just want them to do it in 90 minutes instead of 2 hours.
I feel the exact same way. Yeah, I was watching this with Megan, and at one point she was like, "This movie's still going on." I'm like, yeah, this could have been 90 minutes for sure. So
yeah.
But if you have to see a Meg movie, I mean, just go with Meg to the Trench. You don't need the backstory of the first one. Doesn't matter.
100%. You don't need anything that movie gives you, for sure. My number 7 takes us all the way back to 1950. I watched Harvey.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Gave it a 3. Well, not my favorite movie, I would say. Directed by Henry Coaster, starring James Stewart and others. And things I liked about it. One, it's kind of in that world where they're still presenting things as stage plays, but at least the camera's moving a little bit here and there. But it's a lot of people talking in rooms, I would say, with not a whole lot of flashiness other than maybe the actors. Just,
I mean, they're talking to 6-foot-tall rabbits.
I know, and they're doing it at like 11. You know what I mean? Like, often characters are acting as if they're talking to the people in the back row of the audience, and I'm like, this is a movie. Can we just not shout our lines, basically? But I mean, it was the time. I totally understand that. The concept. The other thing that disappointed me in the movie, or I felt like had more potential, is just like defining the rules of Harvey. It's like they kind of present things as one way, and then they start. They didn't follow the rules enough. That's all I'm going to say for people who haven't seen it. The premise is this guy, played by James Stewart, has an imaginary friend that's like, would you call it a 10-foot tall bunny? And
6 foot tall. He's a puka.
That's fine. Everywhere he goes, he introduces everybody to Harvey, and they look at him like he's insane. And his sister and all his family members are embarrassed by him. And but they all put up with him because he has money or something like that. I don't remember. And so over the course of the movie, it's a bunch of goofs and gaffs around like the idea of him being committed because he's clearly lost his mind. And maybe, just maybe, things aren't quite as they seem. And that's Harvey. On top of that, James Stewart, we've talked about it before, like his whole inflection stuff just is one big distraction to me. And he's doing it a lot in this movie. I would say he is affectationing all the time in this one. And it was hard for me to get past. But I did respect it in the end, even if I didn't agree with where it eventually went. It's not that I didn't agree with it. It's that they seem to have rules for some characters that aren't rules for other characters, and that bugged me. So, but your mileage may vary. Zach really likes this movie. So isn't it on your top 250? Is it in your 250?
It has potential to be. I don't remember offhand.
Okay. It's up
Sounds
there.
reasonable.
It's
Yeah,
up
I like Harvey a lot.
Yeah. Have you seen Harvey, Kyle?
I have. It was maybe one of my first Jimmy Stewart movies.
Mhm.
So it was back in the mid 90s.
A
Like,
long
my parents
time ago.
had me watch it. I remember liking it, but I have so little memory of it besides basic plot outlines. I
Sure.
can't really give an opinion.
Fair enough.
I might as well say my number 6.
If you want to, it seems like a good time.
Although I think I'm on my number 7.
You're on
That,
six.
that
I'll
would
say
be
my
a
number 7.
better place to start, but
I prefer your number 6.
Really?
My number 7 is another pizza movie night rewatch.
All right.
Monsters Inc.
Oh, now
wait,
that's a good one.
This is at 7?
Well, here's what I'm going to say about
Do
Monsters
you have like
Inc.
a bunch
okay?
of 5-star movies ahead of this?
No, can I have something to say about Monsters
Okay,
Inc.
please.
I think Monsters Inc. is a phenomenal movie. It's great. It's wonderful. It really is good.
Number 7.
And there's so many great moments in it. It's a good story, interesting characters. There's so many like little inside jokes that reward rewatching, all of that. However, I have watched this movie like 20 times in the past year or two, and it's just starting to wear on me a little bit. So this movie has suffered just from rewatch fatigue, I would say.
Sure.
So like I intellectually thoroughly enjoy this movie, but my desire to rewatch it is very, very, very low. At this point. So it's at number 7 just because I'm fatigued with Monsters Inc. But it's a great movie. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I think, if I'd only watched it 3 times this year, it would be number 2 on my list. You know what I mean? But it's a lot of Monsters Inc.
Sure.
Zach, have you perfected the dad nap yet?
I don't nap.
No, like, but specifically during a TV or movie program you don't care for.
No.
Oh, that's
I do not know how to take a nap.
that is a skill you will thank yourself for learning how to do. Because next time Monsters Inc. comes on, you can like just put your feet up, close your eyes, and like 45 minutes later, it's gone like a blink.
I could. I want to embrace pizza movie night as much as possible. I don't want to just zone out, check out. I want to be there.
I guess
laughing
you
with
guys
the
have a more
kids.
special, like, this is movie night.
Yeah, we try to do it.
Yeah.
And that's really the only time that they watch anything
Mhm.
screens wise is pizza movie night. So they love it.
And I guess you can be there for your children to experience the moments.
What's up with the Monster U? You don't integrate that every now and
I've
then,
seen Monsters U 0.5 times. I've only seen half of it.
And you abandoned it because you hated it, or you just didn't pick it
I
back
think
up?
I fell asleep and never bothered. It seemed like such a minor sequel. It seemed completely disposable.
It's a
the half
major
that I
step down.
watched.
Yeah.
And yeah, the kids have showed no real interest. Their favorite character is Randall. I don't know if he's in Monsters U or not.
Don't remember.
He probably is.
Okay.
Randall's the bad guy, right? The chameleon one.
Like one, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I asked Galen a couple weeks ago what his favorite movie of all time was. He told me Monsters Inc.
Interesting.
Yeah, which we have not watched in a long time, but that's his favorite movie of all time.
That's not a bad answer.
Yeah. No, I asked him why.
It's probably top 5 for both my kids.
It's a great movie. Yeah. All right. My number, I guess I'll go 7 also. I'll keep the trend going. My number 7 is a 2007 movie, and this completes a director for me.
Ooh.
Death Proof. This is the last Quentin Tarantino movie that I finally got around to seeing.
Nice.
I'm not sure why it took me so long to see this one. I think maybe because it came out as like originally a double feature with whatever the Robert Rodriguez one is. And I just, missed the theater time for it, and then it kind of, I don't think people really talk about Death Proof as, when they talk about Tarantino's canon of like the must-sees. So I just sort of never got around to it, but I figured it's one movie to see to complete the director. It's silly to skip this one, so I might as well see it. And I'm kind of mixed on Death Proof. Just, I don't know how long it's been since you guys seen it, but a quick reminder. It's kind of told in two parts. And the first part, you're following these 4 young women in like a roadhouse bar. I assume it's like Texas or somewhere down south. And they're having like really just fascinating natural conversation. That's one thing I really like about Tarantino. I think he writes dialogue really well. And like a good chunk of this movie is, at least this first half of this movie, is just these 4 women just talking about life in general, right? And it feels very natural, and you don't really know what the movie's about, but I'm okay with it because I'm enjoying this conversation. And then Kurt Russell's character shows up, and he's got kind of like this edgy dangerousness to him, and then he eventually has an encounter with Rose McGowan and the rest of these women, and that kind of clues you into who he really is and kind of gets the movie going. And then, so that's like the first half, and then the movie drops you with a whole new group of women with much more known actresses. I guess Rosario Dawson's the most known one. And then what's the name of the stunt woman that he works with a lot?
I forget.
Zoe Bell.
Mm-hmm.
Zoe Bell's in that group. And I found these 4 women way less interesting, just the conversation they were having. There was much more about work. I don't find Zoe Bell to be a great actress. So like she just did not gel with the group. Like she felt like she was just trying too hard. And you have a return of Kurt Russell, but you don't really get more of his character. He just kind of does the same thing. And I thought he was a really fascinating villain that they don't do anything with him. They just bring him back with less interesting characters. And the final 15 minutes is like a big car chase to show off a stunt, because I think these women are stunt actors. But I just was kind of bored by the second half of it. So the movie started really strong for me, and just did not pick up the pieces after it went to its second half. So I would say this is probably my least favorite Tarantino movie.
Least favorite of all of them.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, I think I generally like every other Tarantino movie, and this one, I've seen it. I really don't need to see it again.
Okay. Fair enough. I'm glad you finally saw it and you got to put a stamp on Tarantino.
Yeah.
You haven't seen all of them, though.
Well, I mean, I haven't seen like 4 Rooms, which he directed a scene in or something like that. But
I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about My Best Friend's Birthday, I think is what it's called, which was his very first movie and is lost forever to time.
Oh, well, okay. I've seen all his feature releases, if that counts.
You can watch half of it on YouTube, because evidently it was on 2 reels.
Okay.
And somebody found the first half, but the second half still missing.
Well, if I really feel like being a completionist, I'll get right to that.
You can watch the first half of his very first movie.
Does that count as a watch then? If I only watch half of it? I mean, in my books,
I don't know. I think people are letterboxing it. So I don't know. I'm not the letterbox police, but do what you're going to do. My number 6 is from 1987. I would say this is where I cross from movies that I was okay with to movies that I actually liked. I really enjoy my number 6 from 1987, titled The Hidden, which I had never seen.
The Hidden?
Is this Cachet or is that different?
Nope, not Cachet. It's literally called The Hidden from 1987, directed by Jack Shoulder, starring Kyle MacLachlan and other people, but he's the only one I recognized from my Twin Peaks fandom. And this movie is pretty wild. And I think it's lesser known. It's very like cult classic-y presenting for sure. I don't know if it really is, but
Looks like a Cronenberg movie.
Yeah, it's a little bit of, it's a Cronenberg movie in broad daylight, I would say. The vast majority of the movie is broad daylight. It's like just gross, grimy LA, but in broad daylight. and it's about an alien that can jump from one body to another and like infect people, but only one at a time. Very much like The Thing. But when he infects a human, he just wants what he wants. And one of the things that he wants is to drive a very specific red convertible. And so he's constantly stealing. Whenever he sees this car on the road, he just goes and steals it and drives around in it. At one point, he goes to a dealership and there's a bunch of them, and he's like in heaven, basically. And he has no filter at all. Like, he doesn't act like a normal human, but he can talk and whatever. But he'll just like walk into a room and be like, "Give me the keys to the car." And if the person's like, "Who are you? What are you? Why are you here?" he'll pull out a gun and kill him and take the keys, type of thing. And it's a very violent movie. It's a silly movie. There is no redeeming value to it other than if you like cheesy, over the top, exploitation feeling B movies set in Hollywood from the 80s, then this is definitely one of those. It's a good time if that's what you're in for. And I had a good time watching it for sure.
Have you seen Scanners, the David Cronenberg movie?
Yes.
Is this a similar feel to that?
It has shades for sure. But like,
Okay.
Scanners kind of takes itself seriously. Nothing in this movie it's taken 80s seriously. It's taken RoboCop seriously, type of thing. But it's mostly fun, I would say. Not a comedy, but just like goofy enough to be like, all right, this is just a good time. The Hidden, my number 6.
I'm intrigued. That's my watch list. This might be up my alley.
Nice.
I can see it.
My number 6 is Presumed Innocent from 1990. This is a Harrison Ford movie. Have either of you seen this?
It definitely feels like a movie I've seen, but I don't know anything about it. Maybe I saw The Fugitive and thought it was this.
This would probably be like if he had a trilogy besides the obvious ones. It would be The Fugitive, Witness, and Presumed Innocent. They all kind of share some commonalities. But I really kind of wanted to go on this Harrison Ford binge. Like my desire was to like watch all the obscure Harrison Ford movies that I hadn't seen. And there's some like interesting titles out there. But Presumed Innocent, he's this like hotshot prosecutor, right? He's really good at what he does. I think he's like second in the state attorney's office or something like that. And a woman that he had previously had an affair with, that his wife knows about too. Like they had an affair. She works in his office. They cut it off. Anyways, she gets murdered. And he is like the number one suspect. And so he has to like prove his innocence, where at the same time, like, we don't actually know if he is innocent. Like, he might actually be guilty and just kind of lying to everyone. And so for most of the movie, he's trying to prove his innocence and cover his guilt, in the sense of like, maybe he killed her, or maybe he's just trying to hide the fact that he had an affair with the girl that got murdered, and that like there's lots of good circumstantial reasons to believe he killed it, and that he's trying to hide so that he doesn't get wrongfully accused, you know? Anyway, the movie's great. It's really well paced, really well acted. It's fun seeing Harrison Ford in dramas like this. He's perfect for roles like this. And I will say the ending is wonderful. It's got a great ending. It sticks to landing. And yeah, I enjoyed this movie quite a bit. So there's a little bit of courtroom drama stuff, a lot of like investigative drama, a lot of whodunit. Yeah, it's a little tawdry at times because, you know, like he deals with like his wife being upset at him for the affair, and yeah, those kind of things. But
Nice.
Are we gonna have other Harrison Ford movies on your list? More obscure ones?
I
No.
sure hope so.
Okay.
Not obscure ones though.
I'll wait on with bated breath. All right, my number 6, and this is probably the last of my bottom half, I could say. Which actually, this is a halfway point. I like this movie, but not as much as the other ones above it, and I was kind of fine with it. This is Police Story 2 from 1988. It's
Jackie Chan.
Yep, sequel.
You're a big fan of Police Story.
I am a big fan of Police Story. Yeah. So, I mean, Police Story is great. Police Story is a Jackie Chan movie. It has insane stunts in it. It's a movie you watch and you're like, people are definitely getting seriously injured, including Jackie Chan, as this is being made. Just because of the stunts that they're doing, really just feel like these elaborate Rube Goldberg machines just going off. It's like, let's all cross our fingers. We all make it across the finish line together. And then actually, when I was in Georgia, on the way to the airport, James and I hit up a used DVD store. Oh, yeah. And I found a Criterion of Police Story and Police Story 2 Blu-ray set. So like, well, I might as well buy this.
Why not?
Why not? I like Police Story. I like Jackie Chan. I mean, he's like this modern day Buster Keaton of martial arts. Let's check it out. And I think Police Story 2's biggest knock against it is the first 5 minutes is a highlight reel from Police Story.
Oh, is it?
Yes. So it just shows you all these great moments from Police Story. Like, oh yeah, I remember that. Oh yeah, in the car through the shanty town on the light pole. And so you're like all excited. Like, wow, what is Jackie Chan going to do this time? And he just doesn't quite measure up, unfortunately, in Police Story 2. I mean, I could talk about the plot, but you don't watch these movies for the plot, right? Like you watch it for the crazy fight sequences. And if eventually gets there, like definitely the back half has more enjoyable fight sequences. They're more elaborate. They take place in a warehouse. Like how many Jackie Chan movies have just a random warehouse fight? Pretty much all of them.
All of them.
All of them, yeah. Maggie Chung returns for this. I forgot she was in the first Police Story movie. So she's back in this one. But the first half is light on fights and heavy on plot and red herrings. And it's a pretty simple plot. So like the first hour is just literally just running around chasing, I don't know, ghosts, not little ghosts, but all these red herrings. Anyway, so I was kind of bored with the first half, and then I got some decent fights the second half, but it didn't really make up for the first half, nor did it rise to the heights of the original Police Story.
Have you seen past Police Story 2?
So I've seen Police Story 3 with Michelle Yeoh, and I think First Strike is technically Police Story 4.
Yep.
Which I saw like when it came to VHS release in the United States in the 90s. I would definitely watch First Strike again. I think, yeah. And then maybe I've seen Operation. I don't know. I watched a smattering of Jackie Chan movies in the 90s as he was getting kind of big on like Rumble in the Bronx. Saw that one. I know it's not a Police Story movie, but another one that is fun.
Evidently there's one in 2013 starring Jackie Chan, and they rebooted it.
A 2013 Police Story movie?
Yeah, Police Story. It's literally titled Police Story 2013.
Okay. Because there's Police Story Lockdown. Oh, is it Police Story Lockdown?
Yes.
Okay. Because there's also New Police Story in 2004.
But that doesn't have Jackie Chan in it.
Oh, so Police Story Lockdown is with Jackie Chan.
It does?
Yes. New Police Story 2004 has Jackie Chan.
Maybe it's just a cameo because they're not even listing him.
Okay.
Spoiler alert.
There's also Super
Who's
Cop
they?
2.
Wikipedia?
Oh, well, IMDb has him first billed.
Well, that's why I don't use IMDb.
Because Wikipedia doesn't even tell you he's in it. How that is so beneficial.
Okay,
I'm
Police Story.
looking at. I actually went to the actual entry instead of the little summary on the Police Story series, and he's in the poster.
For which one are you talking about?
New Police Story 2004.
Oh yeah, New Police
really
Story.
have to
He's
dig.
first billed.
Right.
Yeah, and Police Story Lockdown. He's also first billed. I find interesting that there's a Super Cop 2 because Police Story 3 is also called Super Cop.
Mm-hmm.
And they made Super Cop.
I need a whiteboard to follow this conversation. This is
At some point, he went from just a police telling a story to a super cop.
In number 3, he was Super Cop.
Right.
But then Super Cop 2 is with Michelle Yeoh. So like they take her character from Super Cop / Police Story 3, put her in. It's crazy.
Right.
It's like trying to follow the Bruce Lee movies. Like, what are they actually called? Because they just kept renaming those over and over again.
Mm-hmm. I need to rewatch those though.
The Police Story ones or the Bruce Lee ones?
The Police Story ones. Maybe I'll just watch a YouTube video of the fights. I'd probably do it. The fights and the chase scenes. I don't think the plot in those movies was ever the main draw.
I think you could rewatch one. There's enough action in one where, like, there's comedic moments. Do you remember in one where he's like answering all the phones? It's a very like I don't know, like Charlie Chaplin or Buster Keaton-ish moments where he's just like on 8 phones at once. It's funny. It's light on action at that point, but it's comedic.
I don't remember that, but you've sold me.
Yeah.
I'll rewatch it.
Okay. Zach, have you seen Police Story?
Yo, yeah.
Okay,
It's great.
Cool. All right.
My number 5 from 2023 in theaters now. I don't know if it's still in theaters. Dumb Money, which is the movie about the GameStop squeeze. What do they call it? The official.
It's not a short.
FTX.
It's a short sale.
Oh, this is about GameStop.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
about
short sale.
GameStop. For those of you that don't know, a couple years ago, a bunch of people bought GameStop stock, and Wall Street was betting against the stock doing well. And because of them betting against it doing well, the normal people who bought stock in GameStop kind of like put them in a bind, and the big investment firms lost a ton of money over the course of like a 6-month to a year period. And it all culminated in Robinhood shutting down their app to basically keep people from buying more shares of, or selling rather, their shares of GameStop at a very specific moment. And there's a lot of questions as to whether that was even legal for them to do. So this movie kind of tells that story from beginning to end, or, you know, as much as I can get into a 2-hour movie. It's mostly from the perspective of the guy who frequented Wall Street bets on Reddit and kind of was very early in the idea that like he liked GameStop, and it was the pandemic, and he was like, hey, I still like physical games and buying used games, and they're way undervaluing the stock. I think maybe GameStop could possibly come back. And so he invested heavily and then started talking about it on Wall Street Bets, and other people liked him and liked his ideas and followed him into it. And then before they knew it, it was a movement. And so this movie is the telling of that with a humorous edge, I would say. And it stars Paul Dano and Pete Davidson and Vincent D'Onofrio and Seth Rogen and Shailene Woodley and just a lot of people that I enjoy. And I enjoyed this version of that story, I would say. I don't know all the like gory details of all of this stuff. Like I generally understand what happened with the GameStop short sale controversy. So and they didn't go any deeper than like what I already knew. But I really didn't know anything about the players involved other than like a bunch of people bought stocks. That's all I knew. I didn't know about the guy who like started it or was basically on the back of that. He made like $30 million. Even at the end of it, when the stock had gone down, he still made like $30 million from his initial investment. The guy, the Redditor from Wall Street Bets. So, I don't recommend this for Zach because Paul Dano is in the lead, and you will hate every second of this movie because you hate Paul Dano.
No. I don't hate Paul Dano
as an actor.
There's movies he's in that are 5-star movies for me. So
Where he's the lead?
where he's one of the co-leads. Yeah.
What?
There Will Be Blood.
Okay, one.
So I can absolutely love a movie that Paul Dano's in if it's a good movie. Is he like super annoying in this?
Is this a There Will Be Blood situation?
You tell me.
Do you like that movie because Paul Dano is good in it, or do you like it because he's fine in it and everything else is amazing about There Will Be Blood?
Oh, he's my least favorite part of the movie. I think he's pretty bad in it.
There you go. There you go. Least favorite part of a great movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you could, if you want to watch it and prove me wrong, I'm fine with that. But this movie was very much like what I wanted from what was that movie? Not The Big Short. The Big Short was good. This movie's like in The Big Short world, I would say. What was the one? Don't Look Up. Don't Look Up was bad.
Oh, yeah.
This is like in the same vein as those kinds of movies, but is like a step below The Big Short. Because I think The Big Short is peak this kind of movie, but also like way better than Don't Look Up for sure.
I didn't even like The Big Short. The Big Short was so like preachy.
Yeah, this one is not that preachy, but it definitely takes the side of the people in this situation.
Okay.
The other thing I learned from the movie that I thought was interesting is that like the guy who kind of started it all that they focus on in this movie never sold his shares, even when it was like diving. Other people were ditching it. And he was like, I'll just stay for the ride, which is crazy to me. Even like to this day, hasn't sold his shares.
So he has $30 million tied up in the stock and hasn't sold anything.
I believe so.
So he's like, so he's made no money from this whatsoever.
Is he hoping it'll bounce back, or like?
I think he invested in other things. Like from the stock, I believe he holds most of it in the stock.
So if he doesn't cash out at some point, nothing has changed for him. Like it's until he can actually spend the money on something, he doesn't have it.
Well, I mean, he can take profits out.
What does that mean? No, he can't.
I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying.
You could sell the stock.
Let me see if I can find the title card at the end so I can be specific about what it says.
Just tell us how that's.
I mean, you know how it ends, right?
I mean,
if you follow the story at all. What?
Sell a couple million just to,
Sure.
Have a couple million in the bank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to cash out.
Go ahead, Zach, and I will, as soon as I find it, I will interject when the time is right.
Oh, I will. My number 5 is The Equalizer 3.
Oh.
I have not seen The Equalizer 2. But I've seen The Equalizer 1, and I liked that quite a bit. And I saw The Equalizer 3 was out, and I wanted to see that.
You skipped 2?
I did. I skipped 2. I watched 1, and then I watched 3.
It's the Transformers approach. I totally get it.
Against Transformers, it's allowed, but come on. I'm not going to give it. Look, it's very, what's the word? Unbalanced of me to not give Kyle a hard time for skipping a movie. But Zach, come on.
What? I didn't skip a movie.
You skipped 2.
No. I never saw 2.
You skipped it.
I didn't skip it.
It's been out and you skipped it.
Where was it? I didn't see it.
James, I watched Police Story 4312. Okay.
But I saw Equalizer 3 was out. For all I know, there was no 2. Just went straight to Equalizer 3.
Absolutely, there's a 2. 2 is definitely worth seeing.
I would love to see 2.
Well, do it.
Once the hype dies down.
Maybe watch it before 3.
No, I will say 3 was fun. 3 was great. Have you seen 3?
I have seen 3. It might be on my list.
Ooh, okay. Here's the thing about 3. First of all, Denzel Washington is a superstar. He just always will be. He's great. He's such a fun actor to watch on screen. It's undeniable. Find me the person that doesn't like Denzel Washington's acting, and I will not believe you. and he's great in this. And it's just so fun to see old actors not seem too old to act. You know what I mean? Like we got that in Killers of the Flower Moon, where Robert De Niro was not too old to act, and that was great to see. And he's great in The Equalizer 3, and it's an action movie, and he doesn't feel like he can't pull off the action. And there are moments in this movie that are so well done and give us something kind of new that I've never seen before in an action movie. And that's like awesome. For instance, in this movie, it happens in the first scene. I don't know if it's spoiling to go into it.
Go for it.
So in the absence of knowledge, I will plow forward. He like just ruins a whole squadron of bad guys with guns at this winery, right? He just, kills everybody. And as he's leaving, there's a boy, like a 12-year-old boy, and he lets the boy live because he's not going to just kill a 12-year-old boy for no reason. And as he's walking away, the boy grabs a gun and shoots him in the back. And Denzel Washington has this moment where like he gets hit in the back, like several times. He like shoots kind of wildly at where he thought the shot came from. And he stumbles to the ground, and in just like an instant, he clicks to like, this is a mortal wound. It's going to slowly kill me. And maybe not 2 seconds go by, and he pulls his gun to his temple and he pulls the trigger to kill himself. Like he takes like 3 seconds to process, like, I won't survive this injury, especially not here where no one's around. And so I have to kill myself. But he had run out of bullets because he had like sprayed bullets at the guy who shot him. And so in that little moment of cinema, we get him making the like calculated decision that only comes with experience, that he needs to kill himself. He actually goes for it, and it doesn't work, and he's just stuck. And in the resignation in his face when that doesn't happen, like it's like half relief, half resignation. It's such a beautiful, interesting moment that I just haven't gotten in cinema before. And that's in the first 10 minutes of the movie. And it's just exciting to see that kind of drama unfold. And the movie's all in Italy. It's it's fun to be in a new place. I mean, it's a little hokey at times. It's a little like old man enjoying the foreign town. But I liked it. It's a good movie. It's great action. I mean, he's really good at what he does. Good bad guys. Yeah. So I was a big fan of this movie.
Wow.
Nice.
That's a lot to be said for Equalizer 3.
It's good.
Yeah, no, apparently.
It's almost like you should watch part 2.
Totally.
Since you like this character so much.
Oh, yeah. I would love to. That one's great.
I know we had talked about doing Equalizer 3 for the show a couple weeks ago, and I wish we had done it, apparently. Didn't realize I was missing out on some cinema.
Yeah, I think so. Antoine Fuqua.
Have you seen any of the Equalizer movies, Kyle?
No, I've not.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're worth seeing. The first one was good.
Okay.
Yeah.
The second one's
I definitely
good
recommend
too.
the first and third one.
No.
The
second one is good too.
Are they
I can't recommend it.
John Wick-ish, or are they more just like an 80s action? Are they more like Schwarzenegger?
They're John Wick with restraint.
Oh, with restraint. Okay.
You know what I mean? They're not going to give you 45-minute fist fights with 10 different weapons. They're going to give you like 30 seconds of fist fights, because that's really how those things go down, I would say, in real life.
If you have the stamina to like fight hand to hand for 45 minutes, I'm impressed.
Right.
Yeah. All right. I cannot speak as passionately about my number 5. It's also a 2023 movie. It's a movie I liked. This is No Hard Feelings. This is a rom-com starring Jennifer Lawrence. She plays a woman in I think she's like a seaside town on the East Coast. who has run into financial hardship, and she finds an interesting proposition in a local ad where a rich couple wants her to date, and use quotation marks, take the virginity of their 19-year-old son before he goes off to college. They basically, he's kind of like lives in his own shell, and they want to hire a woman to, get him out of his shell before he goes off to experience the world. So, for Jennifer Lawrence's character, it's like, oh, I can make some money off of this. I can take care of my financial issues. This will be take him out for a date, get it over with, and then move on from there. But then it becomes this be a rom-com. To get the task done takes much longer, and then feelings get involved. So it follows all the rom-com tropes. It's not doing anything new with the genre. But Jennifer Lawrence is very funny in this movie, and that's what I think is what is worth seeing it for. If you can get past the rom-com tropes, because she's just like going all in on the comedy. Like, she's bringing her A game. She is doing some crazy things I don't want to spoil. Like, there's one moment that I think people talk about, which I did not expect her to do, which was pretty
The beach scene?
funny. The beach scene, yes, the beach scene. Yeah. That was like whoa, we're going there. Okay. But it was also very funny. And she's also like playing this woman in her 30s who's trying to, hang out with like a 19-year-old and a bunch of his friends, which has its own comedic moments to it. So yeah, I think for a rom-com, it's very funny. It's raunchy, but I had a good time with it.
Nice. I saw it as well. It fell off my list just to recency. But I enjoyed it as well. And like Jennifer Lawrence, she completely commits.
Yes.
And I think that's what I like the most about it, for sure.
Totally agree. Yep.
My number 4 we will get to after I give you a Keith Gillis update, which is the guy from Dumb Money.
Okay.
The GameStop guy. All right. Let's see. By January 27th, 2021, according to screenshots he posted on Reddit, Gil's original investment was worth $48 million. However, the value of the stock continued to fluctuate wildly. He lost $15 million in one day when the markets closed on January 29th, which was confirmed by his brokerage accounts to hold $33 million.
Ooh.
In an interview with the Wall Street Journal, Gil said, all right, I'm going to skip that. After a 2-week break from posting regular updates on his position, Gil posted new screenshots on February 19th, 2021, showing that he had doubled the number of shares he bought in GameStop. So after losing $15 million, he doubled the amount of shares he had in the company. On April 16, 2021, he exercised all 500 call options with a strike price of $12, which were to expire that same day, and purchased an additional 50,000 shares, increasing his ownership to 200,000 GameStop shares, which he holds to this day.
That still doesn't answer the question, though.
It doesn't necessarily answer whether he's ever sold any, but he's definitely holding.
Well, yeah. So here's the thing, though. Like, let's say at its height, 48 million, right? He sold $3 million worth of shares, right?
Sure.
Then it dropped down again, and then he spent $1 million to buy more shares. Like, it makes a difference for him whether he has $2 million in the bank or zero in the bank, because it's all like locked in, in GameStop. So I'm just curious about that.
Yeah, I don't know. Nothing I've read said he ever sold shares, but the movie presents him as not independently wealthy. So I imagine in order to buy 200,000 GameStop shares, you probably have to sell and then rebuy at a lower price.
I would think so.
At some point, type of thing. But he also bought like AMC, which did very well. He bought BlackBerry, which had a moment. He bought Nokia, which had a moment as far as a meme stock goes. So maybe he sold those and just put them all in GameStop. I don't know.
GameStop's currently trading at $13. So he's got $2.6 million tied up in GameStop if he still has that 200,000.
Sure. Maybe he got out of it since then and they just don't talk about that. Or maybe he stopped updating people.
Yeah, maybe.
On how much he has in it. I don't know. My number 4 just happens to be Equalizer 3.
Whoa.
Hey, there you go.
If Kyle wasn't between us, I would have just jumped in. But I echo everything Zach said. I enjoy this movie. I enjoy this character. It's a weird kind of going out film for this character, I would say, because they kind of separate him from the other two movies. It's a pretty self-contained movie. So if you were going to watch 3 before 2, it's not like there's a whole lot that happened in 2 that they drag into 3. There's not anything in 1 that they dragged into 3, short of like the premise that he's a guy with skills who would rather not use them type of thing. I mean, this movie really made the idea of moving to Italy and just being the only American in town like a really attractive idea. I'm not sure people in Italy would take too kindly to people just doing that. It's a weird, I don't know. That was like maybe the one problem I had with the movie, where it was like everybody was just so openly accepting of this foreigner just kind of like hanging out in their town with no real reason. Or
Hey, if the doctor vouches for him,
I guess maybe that was it. The
they all
town
love the doctor.
And I thought the villain was a little cartoony and over the top, but it worked for me for the most part, even if it wasn't as serious as the first 2 movies present the tones of these movies. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm glad they got a 3rd movie, and that this was kind of like, it's a retirement movie, I would say. And it's a good one.
It is a good one. Okay. We're there. My number 4. It is Snow White and the 7 Dwarves from 1937.
Oh wow. When was
First
the
time
last time
watch,
you
right?
had seen this?
Maybe about a month ago.
Okay, so you watch this a lot.
When's
We
the
watched
last
this a
time you
lot.
had seen this before you had kids?
Oh, I'd seen this once.
Okay.
Before I had
Okay.
kids. Yeah. Yeah. Now I've seen it 15 times. But it's good. It's funny. I like this movie. There's a ton of just dwarves being silly. And it's really well animated. I'm surprised at how well animated it is. I suspect that they just filmed someone and rotoscoped over them.
Mhm.
That's my guess.
They 100%. Yes, you can see. There's clips of it. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I like this movie. I think it's funny, and it definitely holds up. And we watched it a lot, and it's good. So, did you guys see that? So the Disney like live action remake that they're doing.
Of Snow White. Yes.
Have you followed the drama on this?
It's
I mean, the manufactured outrage, you mean?
well, didn't Rachel Ziegler get fired from Snow White?
No,
No, she didn't.
they've almost completely reshot it.
Okay.
And they've fired the the live action dwarves that they had used, and now they have like CGI dwarves that look like the originals.
So I did not know
Why?
that.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, so they've like super backpedaled on it.
So we're getting a bunch of like dwarves with like large noses and
Totally.
weird looking.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Hobbit
totally.
style.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like CGI dwarves, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did they fire the dwarves because I know Peter Dinklage had an issue with the fact of like, why are we still doing dwarves in the first place? Like, was it some of that?
I think it was more, I think people like the dwarves were like both genders and like actual people. I don't think they were little people. I think they were normal sized people. Like it was like a very diverse dwarf cast, like every ethnicity, every gender. And I think people were decrying that it was like woke, I guess.
Yeah.
And so they're like, why mess with it? And they backpedaled to that. I believe that's the case.
Every time a studio gives into the woke outrage, like whether it's earned or not, I'm like, just don't give these people credence. Like, just make your movie. Like they're gonna hate it anyway.
I haven't even heard about that controversy. The only controversy I heard was like Rachel Ziegler not being
Her
white
comments,
enough.
yeah, for sure.
And like because of that, anything she says they take out of context, and they're like, she doesn't even want to be in the movie. and stuff like that.
character. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
I just added a picture to Discord. if you want to see what it looks like now.
Oh.
Oh, those are cartoon looking. They don't even like. Wow, I do not care for that. Yeah, they look like cartoons.
I'm not against it.
I think it looks pretty awesome.
Look how
personally.
much Rachel Ziegler hates this movie right now. Just you can tell from the picture.
She clearly hates it
She
from the
clearly-
still.
Yeah,
Time
Look
to
how
make
she's
10
looking at
YouTube
sleepy there.
videos about it.
And then I'm gonna drop in a picture of what the dwarves were. I will say, the dwarves as they were originally conceived, it's not exactly what I pictured when I
Okay.
pictured Snow White and the Seven Dwarves.
Let's see it.
It's kind of like they're all in like, you know how like movies do this thing where like when they give people interesting outfits, they're like wearing 8 layers with patches on everything, and it's like, you know,
Mhm.
so silly.
Mhm.
They kind of have that look going on. It's just like everything is like layered and patched up. But I'll show you what it was going to be. So it's a huge departure from what it was going to be.
Oh, like just
Oh.
normal people.
They look like
Mhm.
Lost Boys from Peter Pan.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that kind of look.
Yeah, this is.
So it's a major change for sure.
Is that Peter Dinklage in the front?
No,
I doubt
no. He was not going to be part of this movie.
Okay. So they did get one little person to be
And a bunch of
one of the dwarves.
Yeah.
And everybody else is just relatively short.
You know, maybe we should just not do this in the first place. Like maybe not remake the animated movies.
Maybe
what I'm getting
don't
from this.
remake any of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm fine with not remaking any of them
I
personally.
don't know. Let's make something new. That'd be nice.
Sure. Yeah. I'm down.
Zach, when you watch Snow White, can you catch all the moments that were then reused in Robin Hood?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, like you just know,
Yeah,
oh yeah,
yeah.
that dance right there, that's a Maid Marian, and yeah.
He's already
100%.
made videos about it.
Yeah, okay. I just don't know. Do you
Well,
watch that with
I
your
haven't
kids?
made
and you're
videos
like,
about that, James.
No?
I made videos comparing Robin Hood to the Phantom Toll Booth.
Okay.
but other people
it was
made
a similar
videos comparing
subject,
Robin
right?
Hoods to Snow
yeah.
White.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but literally Robin Hood like reused animation from Snow White. It's great.
Jungle Book also, right?
Yeah, Jungle Book,
Yep.
Aristocats,
Yep.
a few.
All right, my number 4. I wasn't sure if this was a first time watch or a rewatch, but I marked it as a first time
Really?
watch. Yeah, well, because I think I've seen at least part of this movie with you, Zach, back in the day, and this is, I believe, a top 100 movie for you. 1999's The Thomas Crown Affair.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's definitely a top 100.
So it's a movie where I think I'd seen this before, at least parts of it, and I know it's on your top 100, so I added it to my watch list. And as I'm watching that opening scene, the opening heist with Pierce Brosnan, I'm like, I've definitely
Yeah.
seen this movie before. But then as the movie
Nice.
went on, it was becoming less and less clear. So maybe we had started it together or something like that. I can't remember exactly.
Maybe you 45-minuted it while we were watching it together.
Yeah, you know, honestly, I believe you're the reason that 45-minute rule came around, because you're like, hey, Kyle, watch this movie with me. And like on a sleepover, I'll be like, yeah, no, this is fine. Let's do something else. Let's play video games. So it all goes back to Zach. Like, can we just fast forward through Dr. Strangelove? That'd be great. So anyway, so this is a movie about Pierce Brosnan. He plays this rich playboy who does art heists to amuse himself. He doesn't need the money. It's more of like, I'm so rich, I can have anything I want, so I'm going to steal art that I can't have. And Renee Russo, she's not a police officer. She's some sort of investigator, maybe for an insurance company.
Insurance investigator.
She's an insurance investigator. That's right. And she's investigating this heist because she thinks that a crime was committed. Well, obviously a crime was committed, but she's trying to, for whatever reason, if she can prove something's happening, they'll have to pay out. Right. So she's kind of investigating this. And she pretty early latches onto Pierce Brosnan as being this prime suspect. But she also falls for him. And so the cats and mouse catch each other and have a illicit affair while also kind of knowing that each other is, knowing the roles they're playing in this game. And then it ends with another pretty cool heist. And this movie is fun. It's kind of a throwback to like 1940s, like fast talking movies where you have like a male lead and a female lead, and they're at odds with each other but also fall for each other. Rene Russo's great. Pierce Brosnan is a lot of fun. Movie takes a little time to get going. The initial heist is fun, and then the setup takes a little bit while. But once you get like the two of them playing back and forth and kind of falling in and out of their romance, it's a lot of fun. This reminded me of the Jennifer Lopez, George Clooney movie, Out of Sight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very, very similar vibe to that. I think this is a remake. Have you seen the original, Zach?
Yes, and it's great.
It's great.
Paul Newman.
That's Steve McQueen, right?
Oh, Steve McQueen. Yeah.
I dig in this movie, like they go sailing, like on these really nice, regattas or sailboats. So that's a really cool scene. Like, there's like a hang gliding scene. Like this movie is really just like rich people porn all over it. But
And he's so charming in it.
Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah.
I think at some point in the movie, he says something like, "Oh, I just turned 40 and I'm looking for blah, blah, blah." I'm like, oh man, like I'm looking at Pierce Brosnan when he's 40 and look at myself like, this is some people's got good genes going on.
I don't think he was 40 when he said that.
Well, or I'm pretty sure he was in his 40s, like his early 40s in that moment.
Sure.
So yeah.
He's probably older than 40.
Yeah, probably. Exactly.
I mean.
So, well, looks great.
I don't think I've ever seen this movie. Should probably see it.
It's great.
Looks fun.
Yeah.
Speaking of fun, the next movie on my list, maybe I would describe it as fun. My number 3 from 1973, The Friends of Eddie Coyle.
Sure.
Which I watched on
I've seen that.
Criterion Blu-ray, and I quite enjoyed it. I don't know why I thought this was a French film. I have no clue why. And I put it in.
Les Amis de Eddie Coyle.
I was all ready to watch subtitles, and then I'm like, wait, this is in English, and it's set like in Chicago or something, and it's like a 70s heist movie.
It's like a gangster movie.
Yeah,
right?
it's like a gangster movie, and I was like, "Oh, okay. This is not what I sat down for, but I'm into this." And I was into it, and I enjoyed this a lot. This guy Eddie Coyle, he's like a low-level like gun dealer basically. He's supplying guns to gangs that are doing bank heists, and I saw a lot of like Dark Knight Return or The Dark Knight in this movie. I don't know if they watched Friends of Eddie Coyle or just the influence over the years led to
guaranteed.
that.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially in the heist scenes, for sure.
The masks and everything.
Right. But I mean, that was also in like Point Break. Like just about every heist movie I could think of. I don't know if it started with Friends of Eddie Coyle, but like the cliches that went through the 80s and 90s through heist films, like it's definitely in this movie from 1973. And I liked kind of the cat and mouse of Eddie Coyle, like being involved with all these different groups and having to play politics between them. And he owes things to people in powerful positions in different factions. And there's just like a lot of cat and mouse stuff going on, as well as a little bit of like heist procedural type stuff. And it's very well acted and felt of the time, but not dated at the same time. And I enjoyed it a lot. My number 3.
Nice. That's fun. My number 3 is from 1994, Clear and Present Danger.
Oh, nice. Is this the first time watch?
It is. I somehow had never seen this.
Great.
That is weird. It's like saying I've never seen Air Force One.
What is that? No, I had seen Patriot Games, but I'd never seen Clear and Present Danger. And it's great. It's so fun. It's exactly what I was hoping it would be, even and more. It's a Jack Ryan movie, which is a character, based off of Tom Clancy novels, and it's been played by a bunch of different people. But Harrison Ford's my favorite Jack Ryan.
Oh, he's the best Jack Ryan.
Yeah, for sure. And he plays like the assistant secretary of state or something like that. and James Earl Jones is like the Secretary of State. And it's all about like this like internal conspiracy corruption within the US government. And this like drug cartel in Colombia, and Harrison Ford's character is kept in the dark about like what other government officials are doing in this like, you know, like coup situation. Not a coup, but like they're doing these like assassinations basically of these drug cartels, and they're not supposed to be in Colombia at all, basically. And like Willem Dafoe's in it, and so you guys love Willem Dafoe. I tend to not like him in things, but he's great in this. He's awesome in this. I love him in this. And as like this like leader of American mercenaries, basically like a strike force kind of a thing. Yep. Anyway, Harrison Ford's great. He's really good at like uncovering conspiracies and like, you know, like kind of being this bumbling guy that can actually survive if he needs to. Yeah, I really enjoy this movie. It's a great 90s action film, even though I hadn't seen it up to this point. I'm glad I caught up with it. So I wish there was more Harrison Ford, Jack Ryan movies.
Yeah, you just got the 2, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Several episodes, this movie came up, and I mentioned like I wanted to rewatch it, and James was like, "Oh, this is not gonna hold up. That's a 90s action thriller. You're gonna be bored by it." And the fact that Zach, you watched it for the first time and we're not bored whatsoever, really makes me want to rewatch this movie now.
Yeah, it holds up.
Yeah.
There is one scene where like two people are like, one person's deleting files on a computer while the other one's like reading the files.
Yeah.
Over the internet, and it's it's super dated, but it's still a good scene and tense.
It's got the actor who was in the newest Mission Impossible movie. I can't remember his name.
Tom Cruise. Yeah, he's not in that.
No. He plays the director in the newest Mission Impossible, and he was the director in the first Mission Impossible movie. I can't Peter something or whatever.
Yeah,
with the glasses. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Okay, that guy's in this movie.
Yeah,
Peter Zerny or something like that. Okay.
This is off topic, but also on topic.
Great.
Have you guys ever seen the YouTube clip of Harrison Ford and David Blaine?
Oh, well, yeah, get out of my house. Yes.
Doesn't he like cut an orange or something?
Yes. Yeah.
That's the best.
Yeah,
I'm going to play a little bit. This is like after David Blaine has him cut an orange and pull a card out of
better get ready to bleep something.
See, inside. See how there's a card in the orange?
No way.
See how there's one card inside? Please remove it. Take it out. Go ahead, pull it out. Open it up, Harrison.
No, that's
Riveting.
no, that's just crazy.
Get the out of my house.
It's probably the best David Blaine reaction of all time, I would say. You disagree?
He's had some great reactions. I'd be hard to pick one.
Harrison Ford's the best. Does he have does he have a get out of jail free card forever just to be like a jerk to everybody?
I think
he's kind of like not a nice person, right? But not like a cancelable not nice.
No.
He's just a grump.
Yeah, I think he's grumpy. I don't think he's mean to people. I think he's just kind of embraced some curmudgeonliness in the last 20
he's a curmudgeon.
years.
He's not a jerk to anyone,
Yeah.
I don't think.
Yeah.
I think some people could take his curmudgeonness as meanness.
But that's how people are taking it. I don't think he's doing it
Yeah.
to be mean. I think he's kind of like, I'm at this point in my life and I'm fine with who I am. And I don't need to
I don't need to validate other people's feelings or be nice to them or
put on
take
a
into
show.
account.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's like, I'm good. I'm good with where I am. Like, he's still working. He's still doing things.
Sure.
I don't think he's mean to. I've never seen him be mean.
Mm-hmm.
I've just seen him not put in extra effort sometimes, and that's a curmudgeonness to it. But that's different than being mean to someone. And doesn't he used to do fire rescues with his plane and stuff?
I don't know. I know
I think he's
crashed
legitimately
it a couple times.
saved people. Yeah,
No, I think he's thinking
legitimately
he was
saved
rescued from the
lives.
plane fires. You might just be jumbling the words there. No, right, yeah, I believe he has used his pilot forces for good.
Sure.
He saved a hiker with a helicopter in 2000.
I still want to do a Harrison Ford podcast.
Like an episode on him, or a separate
No, like a
podcast?
series where I watch every Harrison Ford movie.
I
and
wish
talk
you
about
would,
it,
James.
individual
I wish you would.
episodes.
He also saved a 13-year-old Boy Scout in 2001.
Okay.
Oh.
Interesting. Maybe I could do it like songs that save the 90s or whatever that podcast is.
Oh,
where it's
60
like,
songs to play in the 90s.
where it's like write a 15-minute essay, talk about the movie, and then just talk with somebody else about the movie itself at the end. I don't know. Who knows?
I think you're onto something. I mean,
It's been on my
people
list since like
use-
2015. I've been talking about this dumb podcast I've never done. Kyle, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is another 2023 movie. This is another raunchy comedy, and this is called Joyride. This is a movie about 4 Asian American women who travel back to China and Greater Asia in general to reconnect with their familiar roots. Starts Ashley Park, an actress named Sherry Cola,
Mhm.
who I've never heard of before, but that's her name. Stephanie Sue is in this, and then Sabrina Wu also in it. Daniel Day Kim makes an appearance later. In this movie, Ashley Park plays a woman who was adopted by a white American family when she was a small child from China. So even though she grew up Chinese American, she grew up in a white household. And then her best friend, played by Sherry Cola, was raised by her immigrant parents also in the same town. So these two girls grew up together, but had some different experiences, being that their parents were, one were immigrant parents and one had white parents. And then they decide to go back to China to find Ashley Park's birth mother. And along the way, their friend Sabrina Wu comes along, and then they also run into their friend Stephanie Sue, who plays a famous Chinese actress. And hilarity ensues. And this movie is very funny. It's definitely a raunchy comedy, so the
Mhm.
jokes are going there, but also has some heart to it. Like, this is about a woman trying to just, find her immigrant roots and find her birth mother, and I think it handles that very, very well. So it balances the heart and the humor. The only thing I found odd about this movie is my parents recommended it to me,
Mm.
and like we were a while ago, we're having dinner with them. I'm like, oh, have you seen Joyride? We're like, no, what is this movie? And they explained it to me, like, oh, it's very funny. You should check it out. And I'm watching this movie and the things that are happening in this movie. And I'm just trying to imagine my parents watching this movie and thinking, we should recommend this to our son. I think he'd enjoy this joke about blah, blah, blah.
Interesting.
So, yeah. So, like, I'm glad I saw it. It's funny. People should definitely check it out.
So your parents surprised you in a good way that like they're so progressive they don't think of you as like little boy Kyle anymore. They're like Kyle would enjoy these focused adult jokes.
Yeah, but I also, I'm watching this movie and I'm watching this scene, and I'm imagining my parents watching the exact same scene, and that's just like, it's weird for me. So, like,
What would be more surprising? They recommended this or No Hard Feelings?
Ooh, I
No
think
Hard Feelings goes there too. here and
this one
there.
goes further than No Hard Feelings. Like, No Hard
Oh,
Feelings
okay.
has that scene on the
Mhm.
beach. Take that scene on the beach and be like, okay, what more can we do with that?
Okay.
Yeah. So
Interesting.
I'm more surprised by this one.
Okay.
Stephanie Sue is super fun in this, though. Like, she's obviously, we know her all from Everything Everywhere All at Once, where she's great in. It's the only thing I really have seen her in. And in this, she's just playing like this sweet, funny character who I think is great. So, super fun movie.
Nice. I added it to my watch list. I definitely overlooked it. I've seen it. I've had the opportunity to watch it and was like, nope. I
Check
don't
it
like
out.
that it's named the same thing as like a 90s horror movie.
Joyride.
Wasn't Paul Walker in the original Joyride?
I
think.
Sure. Is that about like hitchhikers or a trucker or something?
Yeah, something like that. It's one of these
Yeah.
like out in the middle of nowhere and stranded and like being hunted down. It's very Duel-esque, I would say.
Yes, I think I've seen that one. Olivia
Mhm.
Colman also had a movie a couple years ago called Joyride that Megan watched on an airplane. So when my parents were talking
Hmm.
about this, she's like, "Oh, the Olivia Colman movie?" They're like, "Nope, much different." So
Sure. My number 2, my second favorite movie I've watched out of the last 10 is from 1978. It's Days of Heaven,
oh yeah.
which is a Terrence
That's great.
Malick movie,
Mm-hmm.
another Criterion Blu-ray that I just kind of was like, if I'm never going to watch this unless I just put it in the player. So I put it in the player, watched it. Stars Richard Gere, Brooke Adams, Sam Shepard, amongst others. And it it kind of felt similar to Badlands in certain ways. Maybe it's all the like fields and stuff like that in both movies. um but I think I like this one more than Badlands.
Really?
Badlands is good,
Yeah.
but I'm not bad mouthing Badlands. Different movies. But this one has like a pretty direct plot about this group of people that I don't know how to describe this movie without completely giving away the movie. I don't know.
They're
There's
like,
these 3 people who are traveling together, and one of them's in a romantic relationship, and they find a rich person along their travels, and the female in the relationship gets him romantically interested, and the male that she's traveling with, that she was in a relationship with, is cool with it because he's like, hey, um, we got a place to stay now. You know what I mean? We're not living on the streets anymore. And things kind of escalate from there. And the big question is like, how far are they going to take this? And are they really bad people? Are they going to take this guy for everything he's worth? Are they just swindling him? Or are things not quite as they seem? And that makes it sound like a whodunit. It's not really that. It's definitely a Terrence Malick movie with Terrence Malick touches, very artistic, very beautiful. Like the cinematography in it is pretty amazing. And it's told in like a very specific, slow cinema kind of way, but there's just enough story to this that I was hooked by it for sure. And I was very invested in seeing how this was all going to play out. And I was not disappointed for sure. I understand why this this is considered among the best of like his early films for sure. And I think I generally agree. Also, like Richard Gere, super young in this movie, gave
Yeah.
me, who is it in Badlands who's like super young?
It's Sissy
that,
Spacek and Martin Sheen.
Martin Sheen. Martin Sheen was the one. Like, I don't know an old Sissy Spacek, so to me, she's like frozen in time.
She's always Carrie age.
Right. Whereas Martin Sheen is like the president from
West Wing.
West Wing to me. He's always that age. And so seeing him super young in Badlands was a feature, not a bug for sure. And same thing goes for Richard Gere in this movie. Like he's so young in this that I'm just like, wow, like in marveling at how different he is from me experienced Richard Gere, which he was much older and in movies I was not interested in when I was a teenager. So yeah, if you haven't seen Days of Heaven, and maybe you're a little trepidatious because you've seen Terrence Malick's recent work, which is a little less plot focused, like go watch these early movies that he was making, because there's definitely more focus on the plot. And I think this is like maybe my sweet spot with him as far as like how artistic he can be and still keep me like kind of riveted with just finding out what happens next. So my number 2.
Cool. My number 2 is a movie I watched after seeing Killers of the Flower Moon. I wanted to see another Martin Scorsese, Robert De Niro team up that I hadn't seen. And so I watched Cape Fear from 1991.
Oh, nice. You got
Good. Yeah.
Yeah. Never seen Cape Fear before. I always knew it as a movie my sister liked. That was what I had associated with Cape Fear. Otherwise, I knew nothing about it really. I knew it was kind of like a stalker movie, I think is what
Is your sister like a big Scorsese fan?
No, I wouldn't say so.
No,
Oh, she
say.
liked the movie, not because the director directed it.
No, I think the story is in 8th grade, she was with my cousins and they picked the movie and she was terrified of the movie and it really stood out to her. I think that's
So she was kind of like allowed to see a movie she wouldn't have normally seen.
yes, at my grandma's house. And she was like, I can't believe I'm allowed to watch this.
Gotcha.
Kind of a thing. And it's really good, man. It's really good. I would say a couple of the highlights was one, like it does a really good job of ratcheting up the implicit danger, I would say. And Robert De Niro, he plays Max Cady. He plays it really broad. Like he chews the scenery for sure. And his dialogue certainly doesn't help. I mean, his dialogue is very overwritten. But he just has a menacing like sense to him. He's perfect for this role. And so even though he's chewing the scenery, he's really good. But by far, the best part of this movie is Juliette Lewis. Her performance is incredible in this movie. I've never really cared about Juliette Lewis one way or the other. I've never thought about her as like a great actor, or poor actor, or whatever. But she plays this 14-year-old girl in this movie, and her performance is fantastic. It's a really, really strong performance. And then I read some like reviews, contemporary reviews when it came out, and that's all they were talking about as well. Is like, this is a star-making performance. And she's great. I started watching the original Cape Fear. It's a remake from the 60s. And it was so interesting to see how similar the movies are. Like there's
Really?
incredible parallels between the two. Yeah. It makes Scorsese's movie feel very much like a paint by numbers remake.
Really?
At least of the stuff I've seen so far. It's just kind of like beat by beat exactly the same. So I'm curious to finish that movie and see like when they start diverging, because I'm sure that they will. But yeah. So yeah, I really enjoyed Cape Fear. James, you described it as easy to watch. I don't know if that is how I would describe it.
It's easy for me to watch because I've probably seen it like 6 times. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like the suspense has been knocked out of it for me.
Yeah.
For me, it's just watching another movie I've seen like a bunch of times over the course of my life. But I could see how, I think I backtracked on that a little bit, didn't I? I was like, maybe it's not easy.
Yeah. I mean, it's very dark, but it's good.
It's definitely a more straightforward Scorsese movie. Like it's a clear thriller.
Yeah, there are some like interesting touches that he does though. Like he's creative with his camera for sure.
Yeah. Zach, have you seen the 1930s Scarface movie?
Yeah.
Okay. As another movie I thought of, like where it's very similar, the remake and the original. So
surprisingly similar.
Yeah.
Zach's got to start mainlining Juliette Lewis movies. I mean,
she was great.
What's Eating Gilbert Grape?
I've never seen it.
But you gotta skip things like The Other Sister, whatever it's called.
Natural Born Killers.
Okay, Natural Born Killers is good.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Basketball Diaries.
Haven't seen it.
From Dusk Till Dawn.
Seen it.
Way of the Gun.
Seen it.
All right. Starsky and Hutch.
Haven't seen it.
Which one?
The only one. I think they've only made one Starsky and Hutch.
No, there's definitely. I thought like Ben Stiller and a Wilson brother did a remake in the 2000s.
Yeah, Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson. Starsky and Hutch is a TV show. Originally.
Oh, it was a TV
I think the only
show.
movie they made was the Ben Stiller one.
I thought it was like a movie. Sure. Before my time.
Would it have cracked your top 10 Scorsese films, Zach?
Yeah, for sure.
Nice.
Cool. All right, my number 2 is a 1950 noir directed by John Huston called The Asphalt Jungle. This movie stars Sterling Hayden, who is a rather famous actor of this era, definitely in the 60s and 70s. This is an earlier movie for him. He plays a recently paroled burglar who just gets right back into the heist game. And he takes place in a elaborate jewel heist. And they never say what city it is. I think they're in Chicago, but it's definitely like a Midwestern city that they're in. Anyway, so he takes place in this elaborate jewel heist where the guy who's funding it then decides he can maybe double cross everyone and abscond with the jewels himself. So there's definitely some crosses and double crosses going on. Got Marilyn Monroe in this movie also, like a very early role for her. She plays the girlfriend, I guess the mistress of the benefactor. Only there's a couple scenes in this, but they're really great. Yeah, and this is a good noir heist movie. And it's number 2, which is high, but it's still only a 3.5 star for me because a lot of these movies I'm sort of average on this week. And the reason why this one is maybe not ranked higher is nothing against this movie, but I've just seen a lot of heist movies recently, like Rafifi and Le Cercle Rouge, and those movies all just did it a little bit better than this one. So I think if you watch this movie in a vacuum, The Asphalt Jungle is definitely a noir classic. But for me, having seen these other heist movies that are very similar, those movies were probably inspired by this one, to be honest. I just feel like I've seen this movie several times. But this has another like great elaborate heist where it's sort of done in real time. It's very silent. There's nothing flashy about it. And I could see how these other movies that came after The Asphalt Jungle saw this heist, like, oh, we can do that, in our own French cinema. So maybe it's just a issue of seeing the copycats before seeing the original. But it's still number 2 on my list.
Nice. All right, my number 1, my favorite movie I've seen out of the last 10 is from 1985, To Live and Die in L.A., which is a William Friedkin movie. William Friedkin, the director of The Exorcist and The French Connection. And I read somewhere that this is like his answer to The French Connection. Like he made French Connection in the 70s and then in the 80s. And French Connection was what, like Chicago? Where was French Connection?
No, that was New York City.
New York. Okay. So this is like his
It wasn't Chicago?
LA.
No, no, because there's a whole thing with a port.
Okay.
And I mean, Chicago's got little ports, but nothing.
Was it filmed in Chicago? Maybe that's what I'm thinking about, because the car chase scene where the like railway is over top of them, isn't that in Chicago?
No, I'm pretty sure it was all filmed in New York City.
All right, fair enough. It doesn't matter. That was more East Coast, I would say. And Live and Die in LA is him 10 years later making an LA set version of French Connection. That's what I read somewhere that he said, or that's the way he framed it. And much like The Hidden, this is an 80s movie set in LA, and so it has similarities to The Hidden. But whereas The Hidden is just like goofy, fun B movie weirdness, To Die in LA was just really well made, I would say. It's a crime story again. It's got corrupt cops, got, money laundering, and just tons of cat and mouse. William Peterson from the CSI TV show, That's how I know William Peterson. He's one of the 2 main characters in this movie, the other one being Willem Dafoe. And John Turturro's in this, Dean Stockwell, a bunch of people that if you watched movies in the 80s, they're probably going to pop up in this movie at some point, if they're like, character actors, I would say. And yeah, if you really enjoy William Friedkin movies, I would say this is just like, I don't know if this is underrated or if it's just a movie I didn't get to. I don't know. My motivation for watching it is, one, I bought it blind buy on Blu-ray like 2 years ago, hadn't watched it yet, and then I heard somebody say this was their favorite movie ever, and I was like, well, I guess I gotta watch it then, because there's no reason why I'm not watching it. And then I watched it and I was like, that was a great crime drama from the 80s. Wikipedia calls it a neo-noir action crime thriller, and I would agree with that for sure. What Heat was like in the 90s, I would say this is the 80s version of Heat.
Really?
'Cause, yeah,
Okay.
some of the stuff that happens in this movie is I can't think of another 80s movie that had the kind of action that this has in it. And it's because it's directed by William Friedkin. You know, it's like I said, it's his version of The French Connection, just with all kinds of 80s sheen to it that I really enjoyed for sure. My number one. 5-star movie
Very
for
cool.
me.
Nice.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Fun to discover those, right? I haven't seen it.
Absolutely.
Okay, my number one is a rewatch. Kyle watched it recently, and I think I commented on it there, so I don't have to say too much right now. But it's Red Belt.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
I just really like this movie. It's about a jiu-jitsu teacher, instructor who has his own gym, and he sticks his neck out for different people. That makes his life more complicated, and then he has to do things that are more complicated. It's so good. It's just really great. But we talked about it recently. But yeah, I love Red Belt. That is in my top 100. It's number 98 on my top 100, and I like it quite a bit. So Red Belt.
Nice.
One
Quite
word.
a bit refers to a significant amount.
When
That's accurate.
is Red Belt going to show up on Family Movie Pizza Night?
Oh, I could see us watching Red Belt when they're 14.
Really?
Yeah.
It's- There's language. There's
Sure.
Yeah, they'll
fighting.
have heard it all by 14.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's probably more
They'll hear it all by,
whether
like,
they'd
second
be
grade.
even remotely interested in the pace of that movie at
Yeah.
those ages. We'll see.
I
We'll
mean,
see.
you can start them jujitsu early. Get
If
'em
you've
going.
raised them right, you've raised them for slow cinema.
That's what I'm thinking.
Based on the
That's what I'm thinking.
UFC.
Does Kayla have any interest in karate / would you sign her up for karate?
She has a white belt in karate.
Oh, she's in karate.
She was in karate.
Oh, she was in karate. So she had
yeah, she did it.
interest.
She did it for 4 weeks.
Okay. And then
Didn't want to do it anymore, or you guys just moved her to something else?
We didn't want to pay karate prices. It was going to be like $900 for the year.
yeah.
And
almost
and
$100 a month. That's crazy.
Yeah. And then it's like a huge hassle to like that locks her in at a certain time every week,
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to like, you can't plan anything that day, because that's the karate day. It's a big hassle, and I don't want to pay $900 for the favor. Plus, I don't know if she was in the 4 weeks. I don't know if she exhibited amazing growth in her karate skills. So I'm just picturing like a year from now, like what skills she would have gained. I don't think there would have been too big of a delta.
But I bet if she had begged to go back and then didn't let it go, you guys would have done it.
Of course. Yeah. If she shows extreme interest in something, like she's in gymnastics right now, and she loves that.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. Kyle, what was your number one?
My number one is a 1992 movie directed by Cameron Crowe called Singles. And this is like maybe the ultimate Gen X movie? Question mark.
Very close to it.
This being a Cameron Crowe movie, it's very similar in structure to Fast Times at Ridgemont High, where we're following a group of, this time it's like 20-something, like early 20-something-year-olds who all live in a apartment complex in Seattle. So, and they all have these kind of intersecting lives and stories, but they also have their own kind of separate stories going on. And they're all based more or less around love and relationships. And you really get the impression that these are a lot of the Fast Time at Ridgemont High characters now 5 years later. Like they've gone to college, they're out of college, and now they're trying to figure out what next is in their in step in life. This movie is got a stacked cast. I mean, so one reason I really like this movie is just who's in it. Bridget Fonda, it plays a character who is in love with Matt Dillon. Matt Dillon plays like this scumbag rocker who's like trying to be real all the time. but also like he can't commit to having a relationship, and he plays just this sleazy guy so well. His band is called Citizen Dick, and the rest of the band is made up actually by Pearl Jam members. So like he's at like a rehearsal, and there's like Eddie Vedder and Stone Gossard all like rocking out with Matt Dillon. Kira Sedgwick it has a huge role in this movie, and it's weird seeing like a young Kira Sedgwick because she came onto the scene for me with like The Closer and everything after that. So for me, like, who are you talking about, James? Who's always been like Martin Sheet has always been olds to you, right? So Kira Sedgwick has always been like middle age and beyond for me, and then to see like a young version of her was super interesting. Bill Pullman makes an appearance in this movie. There's scenes where characters are like at a club arguing about inane relationship stuff, and then Alice in Chains or Soundgarden are playing live in the background. And I'm like, guys, like you should really be paying attention to the musical moment that you're experiencing right now, and not fighting about your love lives at some club. It's just like for me being really into this era of music, I really enjoyed seeing this fashion, seeing these characters, the music that they're playing, having these actual bands there. The soundtrack is all of these Seattle bands that were just about to break. Nirvana famously is not on the soundtrack to this movie. They were asked. This is before they were famous, and they were like, "Oh no, we don't do that kind of stuff." So like all the other big bands that came out of Seattle, like Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, Mudhoney, Mother Love Bone, they're all here. No Nirvana, but that's totally fine. But then also just being a Cameron Crowe movie, you got great characters just kind of intersecting throughout the whole movie that I really enjoyed it. So it all came together for me.
I don't think Nirvana ever put their music in movies.
I mean, probably not while Kurt Cobain was alive. They've definitely had music in the movies now, but yeah.
Yeah, I can't think of them being on any soundtrack while the band was active.
Yeah, I mean, Cobain was very afraid of selling out in quotation marks.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
That's true. All right, that was the last 10 movies we watched, ranked in the order in which we preferred them. Thank you for joining us for this episode 606 of the Cinereelists. When we get to 666, it's got to be a horror episode, right? Top 10 horror movies.
Or like
episode 666.
Top 10 metal music moments in cinema.
All right. Fair enough.
Or top 10 movies about Roman emperors.
And then 777, we do top 10 Jesus films.
Why 777?
I don't think 777 is a thing.
I mean, the number 7 is, and that's 3 of them.
Yeah,
Is
but
right?
3 of them isn't a thing.
Is the number 7 a biblical number?
Yeah, I would say. Yeah.
Oh yeah, like the 7 apostles, the 7 days Jesus took to come back.
No,
The 7
none of those
days
things.
of the week.
The 7 stations of the cross. Yeah. Oh
On
yeah.
the 7th
I totally
day
get
he
it.
rested.
The 7th day he rested. No, I'm legitimately asking, what is the significance of 7 in the Bible? Because I cannot think
It's one more than 6.
Is that it?
Yeah,
I mean, there are references to 7, but there's references to other numbers too.
Well, yeah,
so.
like that's just like
it's not a really a big thing.
okay.
But for people that are super into numerology, it's 1 more than 6.
Well, yeah, yes, but that's also just how numbers work.
Right. Well, whatever number was going to come after 6 was going to be like the God number.
Oh, okay.
Because it beats
yeah.
666.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know my my brother's like AIM handle and video game handle in the 90s was Dread 668 because he was the neighbor of the beast.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Not the next door neighbor, but the
clever.
one after the one over there.
Huh?
666 would be like not the next door neighbor, but the neighbor next to them.
No, 668 because 667 would be across the street from the beast.
Yeah,
So 668 is the neighbor of the beast.
There's a logic. Okay.
Oh yeah. No, he thought this one
Interesting.
through.
I'm impressed. How old was he when they came up with this?
Oh, probably like 5th or 6th grade, middle school. Yeah.
Wild.
Whenever we were getting like Descent handles or Doom handles, whatever game we were playing.
Sure. If you would also like to make your own personal top 10 less 10, we'd love to see it because we like seeing what our listeners one, have been watching, and two, have been digging. So you could definitely send those to us via email, heyguys@cinereelists.com. We always enjoy seeing those, discussing them on the podcast. You could also drop them in our Discord. There's a Discord channel specifically for Last 10 Top 10s. I've seen a couple people do that as well. Feel free to drop them in there if you don't want to send us an email for one reason or another. You could also leave a review on Apple Podcasts. We'd appreciate that. 5 stars only. Support us on Patreon. Check us out on YouTube, or follow us on social media on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok at Cinereelists. Or you can follow me on my personal Twitter or Letterboxd account at EOJRB.
You can follow me on Twitter or Letterboxd at Shaban.
You can find me on Letterboxd at Peter SKB.
Nice. We will be back next week discussing the film Priscilla, directed by Sofia Coppola. Her take on Priscilla Presley. It'll be interesting to compare and contrast that with last year's Elvis or the year before.
Last year.
The recent Elvis. I think this one might be flashier than Elvis, considering Sofia Coppola, she's not known for her restraint in filmmaking.
Yeah, I read about the
Flashier than
costume
Elvis
changes on
would
this
be tough to
movie,
do.
and it's. I mean, there's one moment where I think she goes through about 50 costumes in 30 seconds. It's crazy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It's going to be insane. Yeah. We'll see you guys there. Until next time, keep it cinereal.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.